My name is Katrina, and this is a soapbox. And this is a vlog of my life. This is a vlog of my life. So I decided on my birthday that I was going to track my life's progress for a year. So this is my fourth. This will be the fourth episode of the days of my life. So yeah, this is what I'm doing. So do me a favor. If you're watching this, you probably should subscribe to my vlog. You should, because you're watching me. You should do it. Okay, so what I said I was going to do this year is just briefly go back over it. Get my business up and going. Lose 50 pounds. And what else was I going to do? I've got to go back and see what else. If you don't know what else, it's in the first video, so just go watch the first video. Anyhow, so let me tell you about my week. I have not done anything business-wise because I've been working late. I've been getting home like around 8 o'clock at night. So I haven't really had time to do anything business-wise because I've been exhausted. But last week I did say that I was going to start intermittent fasting. I have done that. I have not done it well, but I've been doing it. So let me tell you what I've done. I have my eating, and I hate to say fasting, because in my opinion, it's more like an eating schedule. Because when I first, I told my sister that I was going to start intermittent fasting. And the first time I did it, she's like, "Oh my God, you need to eat." I'm like, I'm eating. I just eat between the hours of 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Perfectly normal. So what I did last week is when I got up, I just had some water, or I would try to at least make myself a cup of tea. At 10 o'clock, I'd have a bowl of oatmeal, and then I also have 2 microwave work scrambled eggs, and then I would go to lunch, and then I at least try to have a halfway decent lunch. A lot of times I found that I wasn't very hungry. I would eat maybe a baked potato. I'm trying to think what else I would have for lunch. It was slim pickings last week. But then what I found out is last week, because I was working so late, I didn't have time to eat. I'd be working, I get to work at, I would get to work technically around 8:15-ish a.m. I get to work then, but then I would not be able to go. I wouldn't go home for dinner. I would work through till 8 o'clock that night, and I would just go home, and I didn't eat. And because my cutoff time was 7 o'clock, I wouldn't eat anything. I would just go to bed. I mean, that's how my week was last week. So this week, I'm suspecting that my week is going to be like this week again. So I'm going to actually tomorrow pack myself something to eat. But I will say, even though I did not eat well, I did drop a pound. It's 1 pound. 1 pound is a pound. Let me help you visualize what a pound is. So, 4 ounces, 8 ounces, 1 pound. 1 pound. This is how much weight literally came off of my body last week. Somewhere. I would have liked it to come off my belly region, but I don't know if that really happened. I kind of feel like I have more of a figure. That's a pound. So I now weigh 203 pounds. Next week, I expect my scale to go down further. My goal in the next 2 weeks to be at least 196. It doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot. I can do it. 196. So that's what I did last week. And like I said, I start breakfast at 10 a.m. I stop eating at 7 p.m. And the intermittent fasting, even your sleep consists of that counts as your fasting period. So that's what I'm doing. So let's see what else happened this week. Happened this week. It's just been really busy. It's just been really, I've just really been consumed with work. So after, I guess, give it a couple of weeks, and then I can at least get my schedule back, and then I can focus more on business. And that. But you know, another thing that I've been doing this year is really just purging myself with relationships. And a lot of times when people hear relationships and purging, they're thinking of, you know, boyfriend, husband, that type of relationship. But a lot of times we have friendships that really need to be purged in our life, or we just need to step back for a while and just put them in perspective. Um, One thing is, you know, is we have to start getting people out of our head. And one thing I realized is that when you have a purpose in your life, when you have like a divine destiny, and when you have a God-given purpose, something that you're going to accomplish, that you have a God-given gift, that people sometimes will realize that before you do, and they will start attaching themselves to you. And what happens is that you start feeling weighed down. You hear other people's voices in your head, and then it's just like they have, especially when they have no boundaries with you. No boundaries. So when that happens, we've got to cut off these relationships. We've got to get back healthy. And a lot of times that we've got to step back. We've got to step back and just get some time, get to ourselves, and just spend time for ourselves. That's something that I have been working on this year. And I will say another thing about this too. We've got to realize that when we are in abusive relationships doesn't always constitute as a boyfriend mentally, verbally abusing you, or a husband verbally, mentally, physically abusing you. It can also be abusive friendships that we're in. If you're in a friendship where you're always being dumped on, every time you call somebody, it's always a dumping session. It's always you're afraid to really voice what you want to voice. You can't be yourself. You can't say what you want to say. You're walking on eggshells. When something good happens to you, you get put down. You're probably in an abusive friendship. You're in an abusive relationship. And those are things that we just have got to cut off of us. You know, we start forming these soul ties with our friends, and we realize that sometimes you've got to cut the ties. You've got to cut the ties. You've got to get alone. You got to get their voices out of your head. And you've got to create boundaries for yourself. And you've got to be able to step back and just focus on you. Focus on God. Get some mental clarity and get other people's voices out of your head. And that's something that I've had to do this year. And actually, I feel better for it. When you start doing that, you'll realize that you will have this sense of freedom. And you'll get to a point where, you know, at times you're like, oh my gosh, I want to call such and such. But then you realize, you're so much better for it. I'm not saying you don't have to be, I don't know, however you see fit to do it. You know, if you're in a situation like that where you're just being just like, there's no boundaries in there, and you feel like you're just being in an abusive friendship, I urge you, just step back from it and see how you feel. And if you feel a sense of freedom, if you feel a sense of lightness about you, a sense of lightheartedness, then it's probably time to let that friendship go. That's just something that I really have done this year, and I feel so much better for it. And I just can, you know, focus on me. It's all about me, but no, me and other people. And just feel a sense of, you know, you feel a sense of lightness. So that's something that has really just been I've been working on this year. And just something that I thought I'd mention. You know, I don't know if you're going through something like that. If you do, hey, let me know. I will say what I did. Don't call. Anyhow, yeah. But sometimes you've got to cut people out of your life. You got to cut them out. And I'm not saying, well, sometimes you do have to just totally just shut it down. But sometimes, you know, you can just step back and just step back for a while. I think you'll be better for it. I feel better for it. I feel a lot better for it. But at any rate, so that's all I have to say today. I'm just going to take some time. I'm just going to rest. I'm about to go hop in the bed, get some sleep, and just prepare for tomorrow. This week, well, not this week. Well, maybe Saturday or possibly Sunday, I need to make some lotion. been extra dry lately, probably because I'm not drinking enough water. So I'll be making lotion and I'll film that. And but at any rate, like my video, subscribe, and I will see you next week. You guys have a great one. Talk to you soon.